So, Ember gets 12 dice again. Hmm. Could have been better.
I'm just going to ask, can I mean, no, never mind. Am I the only one who actually bars?
Who has 4 bars?
What, Dad? Guess I'm going now. Ugh.
Ember is going to take another 2 points of damage.
Okay. Still going.
You.
See you. And then there were 2.
Yes. So, the characters there are going to take some damage as they get splashed by the same sort of elemental blast mixture of 2 elements. And it is back to the gems turns. Paul is going to basically get brought over here using the gem's power. And it is your turn. Do you want to run up to them?
Yeah, since you said to get back to the central area. And last time it took me 2 turns to get over there. I have haste on, which doubles my speed, which I assume I can just get all the way there in a single.
So as you guys are all finally up here on the circle, the group of you all look together, this rift forming in the center where her sword was pushed in, and you're seeing what looks like all your pasts, where you very began with your very first character. You're seeing these people kind of sitting together for the first time, talking at a table with books kind of all around them, and other people sitting in strange clothing. You see your time in Bavaria, where you fought like you got the Lich Queen crowned, and you killed Strahad himself. They're seeing your times in the Australian outback area and your time in the stopping the Cthulhu creature in Pathfinder. And it all like kind of combines together to this one spot. No matter what you do, this is the future that you're looking at. You were all supposed to be here. And you feel this sense of like, I can't give up now, and an honor to do this, and you're willing to go all the way. And again, the handprints that were once there that you put your hands in originally now light up again.
I assume that our hands need to go back in there.
Yes.
And then that they do.
Now, here's the tale. As you finally get this last flash and you feel this tingles up your spine, this need to do this heroic last sacrifice to seal this rift now wide open, you see above you is this large Cthulhu-esque, large potato-looking thing. Its tentacles moving into your reality, pulling the Shadowrun universe closer to this categorific, apocalyptic smashing of 2 worlds. And you feel this is all or nothing now. You're willing to give it all up. This is what you were made for. And before she can strike your sword down, time almost seems to freeze. And this calling to you of all these lost souls you see around you are all looking at you and giving you the strength to do this. Push past this last sort of defense that the void creature is. And in this wobbly scream, it says, I see you all now. Your deaths shall taste good to my victory. And it's getting closer, and as you're getting wrapped into these tendrils, you feel this call in your mind for justice and honor in the past the first age call to you. And do you remember the sayings of the three gods?
Uh, I don't.
Dun dun dun.
Don't know about anyone else around the circle.
They'll remember. Like definitely Fumbus will. But do you remember what? So at this point, as you're seeing all these, what major points in this game throughout all your characters were some of the greatest highlights you've done? What really stood out to you? What made your character? What is worth fighting for and dying for to your characters throughout all their histories?
There was so for all my different characters, there was so sort of going in order for Varus, which was my first character. I actually still have his initiative tracker up here on my board. There was his mentor and his cloak that he never actually found. He's still missing those. Then there was Rogar, who was looking for a glorious death to cement his clan's history as he was the final member. There was Barterus. No, wait, no, he never actually showed up. Okay. There was Kelroth, the previous paladin of this same one that I'm playing now, who is seeking the same thing that my paladin is currently seeking, and that is to protect everyone that can't do it themselves, protect the world from stuff like this. There was Azir. He remembers his time in the Nine Hells, his escape, his return to the world and his adventures therein, fighting the Black Hand and its various and a few of its members.
So as you all these visions kind of flash before you, you feel this need to do it, to die an honorable death for the one, to get justice for others, and to see this quest finish so the ones in your future can continue. And you slap your hand into the hole. The others seem to be having the sort of same. And the thing kind of crops into the back of your head. They start saying theirs. And then for you, you come up to you say, when it comes to Pertros, the god of justice, you say, we are life's sword. We are death's shields. We are life's keepers. And with that, yours glows with a bright, burning justice, the flames of Petros covering and protecting you as this giant flood of just death and void energies fill this mountain ridge and blasts like a bright pillar through this hole. The others chanting their gods' sayings, which I'm trying to find. Because I know I wrote them down. How many fire mills that we burnt? Droop, no. Where is it? I know we have them. And you notice that on the circles, the symbols to basically teleport places, like all the different temples, start to light up. And it seems like the temple's energies are being brought over. And then on that side, you see your other character, your jackal there, He says to protect, to live, to protect, to live is to care is to accept. We are the weapon and we shall know no fear. And with actually that was what the necromancer would say as he finishes his saying. And the monk says the one for the god of magic basically comes over his head and burns this bright beam into the thing. As you feel this push against you, you're trying to almost get flown off, but you're standing there, and with the energy's basically burning off this Tiamat, plunging into the lava with her mother is the daughter of Tiamat, stabbing into this thing, and they're basically under this magma now. As you're barely holding on, you notice some of your friends, they pass out basically. You see life themselves, their skin and flesh ripped off their bodies, and in a blink of nothingness, everything goes dark. With this, your characters are all on the ground, dead, laying there lifelessly, but to their avail, there is now a hole burned into the sky, and this Cthulhu creature laughs, says, "This feeble attempt has only injured me, but now I can roll free. The ritual is complete." And as you stand up, you barely human meat and bones. You look up at it, and what is your finals diss to this giant potato that's been haunting you for the last 2 years? What do you, as it's looking at the player, as it's about to win, what do you say to it despite it?
It took you so many hours to actually stop us. And this is the best you could do.
Are you gonna tell it not? You, as you say this, you feel power surge back into you, the essences of your friends filling you, and the handprint in the middle now is lit up, and you're pretty sure you know that if you were to push this, this is a death sentence for any mortal. Basically, think what you're seeing is the scene from Endgame, where Tony has the gauntlet on his hand and he's about to snap his fingers, staring at a Thanos who thinks he's won, but his powers slipped out of him. Now his power to destroy this world trapped like a Ghostbusters trap in this circle in front of you, and you are about to unleash it. Do you push the button?
Which way did the button go?
It's in the center of the circle. You're crawling to it as you were telling him it took him forever to kill you.
The button stops them, right?
Basically, yeah. If you push the button, you basically kill him. But you will die also. Like your whole line of all your characters will be cut off from here. They'll all go to where they're supposed to be, and the timelines and all that stuff will be ended for you.
You've killed off plenty of my characters already.
I mean, like, they're all going to be, like, the whole just shebang gone. Completely. Like, the ultimate sacrifice to protect both worlds.
Beep.
So as you crawl over and you finish your sayings and you see your kind of ghosts of your past and futures kind of, like, nodding to you and giving you strength and accepting this, you one last breathful push down on the stone using the weight of your body and crumple over and die. The beam shoots into the sky with one final blast, blowing up this mountain and blasts this thing across the known universe as it screams in pain and agony, and it just obliterates into the starry sky. And now this nighttime scene is a cosmic sort of rainbow of like oil when you look at it through light and water. And the stars and stuff seem to be different now. Different parts of the universe itself can be seen. And with this, everything goes black on the mountainside. So, back at base camp, the armies have finally moved in. All the scenes have been filled up, and they're moving in. They're pushing all the cultists out. They're capturing them, and the war of the countrysides, this proxy war, comes to an end. In the world of 2055, the android attacks and stuff, these sightings that magicians and seers were seeing are now gone. And in the control room, standing there proud beside the Lich, who is now, like, the Queen has to help pull her up, feels this great loss, this great severing of history and time and all, like, the forces and just, like, a jumbled mess. Baseline almost has a heart attack, and she helps her up, and kind of they nod to each other, and she says to her, whispering, as everyone's cheering that this vortex has now been stabilized and closed, she looks at her and says, the greatest sacrifice they've made. Beautiful. They're all gone. Even my chosens. And the Queen looks at her and says, heroes will do that on you. Don't ever underestimate a hero. And with that, they both look at the screens, and you kind of get this sort of draw-out screen. And back to where the lava is, crawling out is this tall woman, basically, who is holding on her belt and on her armor is carved with different stories. And in the center is the 5 head of Tiamat. And as she kind of like looks over this place, she has this stare, like this Tiamat stare out of her, fully powered now. She takes rubbles in her giant hand and kind of flies into the sky and ascends. And with this, we get the awesome rock music 80s credit scene. Your tales have now come to an end. You've saved the known universe from its greatest threats ever. And after the credit scene, we get 20 years later. We're in the middle of Magmar, the city that is known nowadays by people as the Future City. Due to its forgings and being on a ley line of energy and freedom of trading, and the portal now being accessible, the people have found a way to connect both universes together. Techies and Mundies, as they call them, or live together peacefully. Techies being from the world of tomorrow, and Mundies being magical users of today. And with that, there's a statue built in the middle of town, and in it is figures of brave warriors. At the very end, your characters standing in heroic poses around, looking like they're ready to smash something or shooting spells, and in the middle is this lady standing in beautiful armor, holding her sword up as if screaming at the sky at something evil coming at them. And each row has different heroes kind of in front of them that you would know as your own heroes through the past who's built up to these pillars. And on it in writing states, many heroes, it takes many heroes in a village to stop the darkness and to become the light that we need. And with that, as the crew is kind of like having a yearly celebration and stuff about this the great rift, they called it, the great combination, the great tunneling, the great divide, the great expanse, as some have called it. This lady walks through the streets, through the crowds, the hood up, and as she comes and gets close to the screen, you notice a red eye and a green eye kind of flicker up, and she kind of smiles with a I know they've done good, I'm proud sort of smile, and you see the Tiamat sort of symbol kind of pop out of the robe, and then it cuts to black, and that is it. So yeah, congratulations. You've completed the 2.5-year campaign. It kind of ended in a way that I didn't really want, and I should have been a little bit more prepared, because the fight should have been a little bit longer, but it's like today was the day it was going to end, it was going to be tonight. But what do you think about that as your first super long length combined campaign?
It took I lost 7 characters throughout that whole thing.
That's all you have to say is 7 characters.
Well, that's one part of it.
Hey guys, it's Will here. I just finished our last session of this 2 to 3 year long campaign, the one that started it all at Wizards. For all you guys who've been with us and who played here, I know we kind of cut it a little bit short, but today was the last night. But I want to thank all you guys who've been with me this entire time, the guys who started playing at my store but couldn't come with us on these nights, which is a big thank you. And tonight I have with me, right after the game, fresh from it, I have Eric.
Hi, that's me.
So, little feedback. Eric here has been with me the longest out of the entire group. We had two others with us who started the entire thing. So, who better than as our first sort of interviewer and just bullshit talker with us be the man himself? So, why don't you give us a little introduction to you and how you came to be playing with us and what sort of characters you mostly play?
So I started out at Wizards. My brother actually started playing the D&D there a month before I did. I joined in a little bit after that, and he eventually went over to one of the other tables, and I hung around that one table, and it's been quite a while, hasn't it?
It has been.
Yeah. So like for the characters I've got, I I made my first like D&D 5th edition character while I was out on a camping trip with my family. Made a character out there, just went way overboard with like all these items and all this stuff with his character creation. And he he lasted like 5 sessions, 5 6 sessions I believe it was. And I played through actually quite a few different characters. Enjoy doing like the magic, but not having only magic as sort of the things I get to use. And the last character I had here, the one that actually finished off this whole campaign, was a paladin that I had. So it was quite interesting.
Cool, cool. So, why am I not picking up on here? There we go. So, you said your brother played with us. I know he joined our table for a while, but for something like this, I know a lot of people they usually play at home if it's something this long, or we've seen people hop back and forth, or they'll show for sometimes, show for not. What was your personal experience? I know our table was definitely cursed with people we won't name, but I know we were definitely the table cursed with the worst sort of players.
Yeah. Well, we were always the table that had like the fewest players overall, so anyone that knew that came in would often end up at our table.
Yeah. So, from an experience of playing at home to compared to playing in a store like this and with the people you've met, without saying names and descriptions, what would kind of be your sort of view or opinion about this to other people who might be a little bit scared to join a public setting?
So, like playing at home, it's just me, my brother, and my dad. We don't actually have sort of anyone else, and it does sort of get like repetitive over time because there's no variation at all. But like at Wizards at the store, it's definitely a lot more interesting. New people, and there's people that are less experienced that are also quite nervous, and then there's people that have like a lot of experience and they're quite confident, and they're quite good at helping out. So joining like to a public setting, like to like a gaming store, setting something up like that with like friends from school or work or stuff like that, it's definitely something that like something nice to do. It's always quite interesting just seeing other people than just the same like 3 4 people that you would have say in your family that would play. Definitely something to try.
speaking about trying, I know another big thing a lot of people might have is rules and stuff. I know in our game we went a little bit crazy throughout the years we've played. Shadowrun, we've like in this last game that we'll have the video up for the ending scene. And hopefully in the future we're going to be recording some live streams, so we'll be doing digital like we have been the last few weeks due to the outbreak. But we're going to be playing stuff on in the future, maybe as one shots on here. But playing Shadowrun and a Pathfinder and D&D mixed, I know rules are a big thing for people. What helped you kind of like get over the whole big giant rule book is scary scenario when you first started?
So what I found that helped with just like learning rules would be to like go in, grab sort of the first rule book and just start reading. Read like the first paragraph, first chapter, first little bit. And then you do a little bit more, a little bit more, and a little bit more. And the next thing you know, you're running out to go get the next book because you ran out of stuff to read.
Yes.
So,
I know this also coming from a guy who plays Warhammer, which we also do here on Saturdays. So the guy who has like multiple books for an army that is in addition where you're not supposed to play with multiple books would probably know what he's talking about when it comes to rules.
yeah.
So I guess on that we'll call it here. Is there the last question I guess I'll have with you for here, and you can spend the most time talking about is what are some of the most memorable? There you go. Stuff that's happened in the games throughout, like any game system that's we played in the store or even possibly at home that you remember.
So the first thing that jumps to mind is sort of the deaths of some of my characters. Some of them cinematic, some of them not so much. But outside that, some of the things that just sort of jump out is because I DM at home for my family, and the things that I remember most about that is sort of the locations they've visited, the creatures they've met, the people they've encountered, just like the various like unusual and sort of out of this world things that you can get from fantasy, from sci-fi. Just not like the normal people, cats, rabbits, bears, but like some of the more unusual creatures that you can find, some of the more unusual locations that you can go to that you don't really get in like movies or television or even video games. Just being able to go in and see things that you wouldn't see anywhere else are definitely quite interesting.
Like Justin's mini deaths.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Was there anything like in our game that stuck out to you that was like huge, or like anything silly like Justin jumping in front of a giant police orisa and getting obliterated?
Oh, yeah. That. Yeah. Another thing that I remember is up at mountaintop temple that we were going through. The like all the zombies. It's like, it's a leaking propane tank. What do you want to do with it? I hit it with my flaming stick.
Oh yeah,
And
the pink mist scenario on top of Mount Fuji.
yeah, I got like 100,000 nuyen off of looting what was left of his corpse. It was great.
Alright. So I guess we'll end it here for tonight. But you said you DM at home. I've been DMing for a very long time. So for someone who's been DMing for I guess a shorter amount of time in the group, what sort of advice can you give to a newer DM from a newer DM?
So one of the things that I like doing is I'll just go around, and if you're looking to create your own sort of custom adventure, not really running a module itself, I like to draw inspiration from just everything I can see. Pictures online, movies, TV shows. but only taking sort of small snippets from each thing and sort of building my own around that. And like if you're sort of nervous about your first time DMing or your first few times DMing, one thing that I've really found that helps with that is like to start out, just start with family, start with close friends, people that you know, and just you'll be a lot more comfortable around them, and then you can sort of bring in other people, friends, and you might even work your way up to just random strangers someday, setting up an online game or something.
Sure. What was it? It just slipped my mind. Oh, I am a sane person. I didn't stay up for a very long time trying to get support. No, I think I may have told you, but would you believe me if I said this entire campaign I've only ever used the book twice.
The module.
Any
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely see sort of like a base inspiration, like a foundation that you took, and then just, well, let's take this and a bit of this and a bit of this and built up this giant campaign.
Yes, I probably would not suggest that to newer players. I know with me, writing isn't my strong suit in getting my words out there to describe, but this entire campaign I wrote that he was a part of and the others will have on here was a part of was 99% made up on the spot.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you want to get good at, like as a DM or even just a player, being able to just sort of improvise, make something interesting.
Yeah, because what is it like? They say like 90%, like 80% of the time, you're like the biggest challenge to the DM isn't the actual DMing; it's the players going off the wrong path.
Yeah, if you make something that's idiot proof, the universe will invent a bigger idiot. Things are going to go wrong. It's just gonna happen.
So I guess with that, I'm going to call it a night. This video itself is like going on 30 something minutes. I know once I cut this off, it'll probably be more like 5 minutes long. But again, thank you, Eric, for joining me on this awesome journey through my first time completing a full campaign. I hope you enjoyed it, even though we did have some incidences throughout different times and different players and with cutting it shorts on bits and parts. But we're hopefully going to be going into the third age now of this world, the final age, maybe.
Excited to see how it turns out.
So, is there any last things you want to say to the fans at home, or to anyone you want to shout out to?
Shout out to one of my own characters for failing every single save he has made throughout an entire dungeon.
Which one is that one again?
The one from the temple where he turned into the final boss because he failed every single save against the zombie bite that he got.
The lizard man.
Yeah. He did not have a fun day.
My man Ricky. Rip Ricky. His name wasn't Ricky, it was something else. He was from Starfighter, but that was Pets, the movie Pets, Rev Goose. Anyways, with that, guys, we're going to call it here for the night. I've been saying that for a while. So that's going to be a goodbye from me. We'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully we'll have our other players here if they want to be in an interview after they watch the video, because I know a bunch of them had to leave early for the night because they had issues or bedtime. So with that, we shall see you guys in the next video.
Bye.